Welcome back to the Blissful Badger. Today I want to get more of the gutter runners painted. Let me see. Yep. All right. So from last week, I have the cloaks and skin taken care of. Let me see if I can get to focus. Of course, it doesn't want to focus. Without actually dropping it on the floor this time. So, let's see. That is the dark blue. And the purple. Again, they're really, really dark. But I think that'll work. So I think I'm going to start today with doing the tail color and highlighting up the teeth. I think that's a good start to the day. Alright. And I have my tea today. I believe this is the tangerine orange. So, if I zoom out, you can see I have paints over here and paints over here. And I remember why I have two stacks, but I was about to reach for a color over here and realized that the color I need might actually... no, it is actually over here. Multiple projects, it happens sometimes. Alright, let's see. This was the Clan Rat body color, deck tan, and their skin, their clothing color. So here's the light flesh that I start with. Why is there so much glare today? Okay, so the light flesh, and that then gets a wash of a watered down purple alchemy for the tail afterwards. So I'm going to start with the light flesh, follow it up with purple alchemy, and see where we get from there. And as far as the teeth, I believe I use the deck tan? I think. We'll see. Alright. And a decent brush. So I just got done with a short walk before the stream, and weather's been kind of bad lately, so I hadn't gone for a walk for a few days, and it was a little bit harder than I was expecting it to be, but I'll be fine. Alright. Let's see. Make sure I got it in the frame. And I get it on. So I got the tail color on the clothing. Definitely not the right color, so I had to clean that up real quick. So, yeah, the walk was nice, but I've not been going on enough of them, so the weather was pretty bad the last week for walking. But I should be fine. So I hope everyone's doing okay with the time change. I did not wake up as easily as I would like to have. But, you know, it's another day. It happens once a year, this direction, so. MK, you say more Skaven. Are you talking about the 20-second video that they've just released saying Sigmar lied? Because as far as the teaser trailer goes, it sure does make me feel that Skaven really is coming. I mean, I know we already saw a teaser, not spoiler, but when GW actually releases something along those lines, it definitely helps build that hype. So Well, it's fairly clean. There's a little bit on the leg, but I can clean that up after I've finished everything else. I might be able to just put a little bit of a shadow in there after the fact and fix it up. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing more reveals of new Skaven. I've heard a few rumors, but I'm hoping they're not true, about a bunch of models going away instead of just being refreshed. So it's always a sad day when models that you already own become unusable in the current game system, but I mean, I purchase models that are in game systems that don't work anymore, so I can't really say very much about that. If it's a cool model to paint, I'm gonna buy it and paint it, whether I can play with it or not. And most people are okay with you taking a model that's similar enough and using it in a game, so I'm not that worried about these guys not being able to be used. I mean, I know there are only 10 of them, but they could just be clan rats with dark clothing. Or any other Skaven model. So I hope everything's good today. I did bump into this camera earlier in the week. And I know it doesn't always focus properly. Let's see what else. Yesterday I played a game of Crusade. My Necrons had their second game, this time against World Eaters. And Imhotep showed up and actually led, well, Imhotep was there, but he allowed his new Royal Warden to lead the army. And, well, my dice were not good again. But Imhotep is fun on the tabletop. And Mo was the Master of Executions, is extremely powerful. So it was a good game. Lost horribly. 7 rolls for my Doomstalkers and for shots. D6 each time. 5 of them were 1s. So I can't say that that's on the opponent or how I was playing or anything like that. That was absolutely bad dice rolling. Imhotep's Flamer also rolled a 1 on a d6, but I did pay a command point to re-roll that. But he only got to use the Flamer once, and those Doomstalkers went down between the Master of Executioner, the Executions, or whatever, Mo, and the Mauler Fiend also did a huge amount of damage. But it was a good game. And now next week I'm going to be playing against Knights. So I'll have to figure out what I'm adding to the list because we're going from 1,000 to 1,500 for this. And I would like it if the Necrons would do slightly better than the Eldar did in the previous one. But I know my rolling, and I actually had someone threaten to buy me new dice. So Okay. 5 down, 5 more to go for the light flesh on the tails. Okay. I also messed around a little bit in the settings. Hopefully my voice sounds a little bit better than it has been. I realized that I could turn up the bass just a little bit and make it so it's more forward sounding. So just messing around with the settings a little bit, and hopefully it doesn't sound as tinny. After doing the video about coconut husk using this camera, I realized it sounded the way it did and figured I'd do something about it, or at least attempt to. So I think, depending on how fast I get my Skaven built, and how long it takes before they announce the 4th edition box of Sigmar, depending on that, I think the next models I buy for Skaven, I'll look into the Underworlds teams. They're really cool, and I doubt that they're going to remove the rules in a new edition. Whereas buying, Night Runners or something like that, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to steer clear of the fine cast and metal Skaven models as purchases right now. If I don't build them very fast. I may just wait until the new box set, because I'm going to want that anyway. And maybe I'll do a long form live stream where I build and paint them over a few days, all live. That might be fun. Depending on when it comes out and what I have planned outside of videos, that might be a really fun thing to do. So I haven't painted anywhere near as many of the Leviathan models as I would have hoped by now, but again, there's plenty of time to paint a bunch of models, and it's not like I don't paint models. I was also in the middle of a move when Leviathan came out, so So how's everyone doing about the time change? I know this isn't relevant after a day or two, but it still feels weird how it's bright out and I'm already painting for the day. Alright, there's the tails to the flesh. I'm just cleaning the brush. Alright. Tea break. Alright. I'm gonna do the teeth real quick. I'm just gonna use deck tan. It'll be fine. I'm not gonna just leave it that way. I'm gonna do a second coat on top of it, but... Alright. Alright, and a tiny, tiny dot for the eye, so that when I do the red, the blood red speed paint, it'll actually show up, instead of just being a really dark shadow. Excuse me. It's crazy how much brighter just a few little dots are on this thing. None of this is really going to stay as dark, as bright as it is right now, but all right. Hello. I just finished the tail, light flesh, and the teeth deck tan, and little dot of eye. Now... Haha! Hello! Now I am going to do a watered down purple alchemy over the tail. So, I am doing fairly good today. How about you? Excuse the shaking. So I'm gonna do... Let's see... I believe a 2-to-1 is good. So, yep. Alright. Yep. And I swapped brushes because speed paints can be a little bit harsher on brushes than regular acrylics, so... Oof, that is oozing off of this. Hold on a second. Hmm. 2-to-1 might actually be a little bit too watered down. Give me a second. Yeah, 1-to-1 looks better. Yeah, that's pooling in the little areas a little bit better. You can kind of see the parts of the tail, the segments, filling up. I have to put it down so it doesn't pool onto the table or onto the model. But, so how have you been? Oh yeah? So you could say you found your bit of bliss today? Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess it is getting to be springtime, right? I mean, we only got, what, 2 weeks? Before it's officially here? Ah. So just over a week. This month is going by fast. Alright, so that's one layer of purple alchemy. Let's see. So that added a little bit of color to this, huh? They might not be as stealthy because of their tail, but it fits. That they would think, oh yes, we're gonna wear really dark clothing and then have a really bright tail. Let's see. Well, it says purple alchemy, but it's a pink. Let's see. So, that's purple alchemy. And this is Hive Dweller purple. So, this is definitely darker. This is the pinks and lighter side of it, but I can understand why they named it that way. Would I have named it that? Probably not. But yeah, when I originally started using the speed paints and I painted the pig purple alchemy, it looked pretty good. I still have those models over there somewhere. I can actually see them from here, but I still haven't gotten any display cases for over there, so sometime soon, hopefully. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I might put a second coat over it afterwards, I'm not sure yet. But while I'm waiting for that to dry, I can do the red eyes. I think that'll work. I just have to be careful with the tails. Alright. Now I also used this for the foot wraps on the clan rats, but since the gutter runners, these guys are so dark, I'm not going to do that. So I'm not even going to dilute this red. I'm just going to take a little bit and plop it in their eyes. And it may or may not even show up afterwards. But I'm hoping that it'll show just a little bit of the white that I painted underneath. It's really wet right now, so it's just getting glare. But I'm hoping that it'll work. But yeah, anything that goes over barely shows up on the flesh or the armor color, fabric color, but it should tint the eyes red just a little bit. Yeah, you can just barely see it. So, little red glow. So, like that one. Little glowing red eyes. And I'm picking them up by the weapons because we still haven't painted those. Alright. I got that red a little bit further outside of the eye, but it shouldn't be that bad. It'll just dry as a shadow in the fabric. At least I hope so. Let's see. I don't remember what exactly I did with the tooth areas on the others. So I think the tail is adequate for shadowing and the segmentation. So that'll be good. I need to do something with the teeth to knock it down just a little bit. I might actually use the pallid bone as a wash. That might actually look pretty good. Yeah. I mean, this is the only 10 gutter runners I have, so long as they're all consistent with each other, I don't think there's any real issue I have with using different colors. I know they're out of focus when it's zoomed that far out. Let's see. There we go. A little bit better. So yeah, I'm going to use a little bit of pallid bone over the deck tan. That should dirty up their teeth, but not be too overwhelming. Again, I'm not going to water these down. And this should darken up the recesses a little bit. Oh, yeah, and I just auto-focused out, so let me hold it by a foot. Maybe it'll show better. There. Autofocus? Yeah. A little bit better, tooth definition. Yeah. Oop. That one. That one's the one I just did. Okay. I have to turn off the autofocus when I'm moving around like this. There we go. Just a little bit more definition on the teeth. Well, I just powered through that real quick. Alright, let's see. Alright. So yeah, the teeth are just a little bit better now. Come on, focus. So yeah, that should work better for the teeth. I mean, it's only, you know, 9 inches, 10 inches away from where I'm looking, so maybe a little bit longer for here, but it's not horrible. It's actually worse getting the lighting for the room and the lighting for the camera setting up where it works for both. Because when I had the overhead light on, it was glaring way too much on the models. And even now, I have a light on either side of me, and they're showing as 5900 brightness, the white balance. And I have the camera set to 5900, but I'm also still getting more of a yellowish hue. So I keep trying to mess with the backlight and all that stuff, but because like I can make it really dark or really glare, but alright, let's see. Well, the blue and the purple are now mixed together, and I'm not gonna deal with separating them. Let's see. I think the tails came out good. I don't think they need anything else. I think the segments are easily seen. The color is decent. I think the next step is actually to do the metallics. I think that's actually the last thing I need to do on these to have them complete. So I'm actually going to get my other water container because it's been building up with metal flakes, and I'll be right back and I'll do the metal. So when I'm talking about the metal flakes, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but if you look in the bottom of this, there's a layer of metal flakes. You can kind of see right there. You can see where it's scraped up. But yeah, there's actually a very thin layer. I don't know if that shows. There's a little layer of metal flakes inside the paint water. So that's why they say to swap out paint after metals. There's little flakes of glitter inside of the jar. Whereas the regular paints don't have that layer in it. And I believe I was using Tinny Tin for this. Ooh, that's glare. Tinny Tin. Come on. There we go. Tinny Tin. This doesn't have a mixing ball inside of it, so when I'm shaking it, it doesn't make as much noise. Alright. Alright. Whoop. At least it bounced onto the desk. I believe for the clan rats and plague monks, I used a mixture of Tinny Tin and gunmetal. But for these guys, since they're stealth, I'm going to paint them just in the Tinny Tin, so they're a little bit darker metals. At least I think I was using a mixture. Again, this unit of 10 rats doesn't have to be the exact same as the rest of the army, because it's a separate unit. And yes, I am holding it by the tail. I'm not that worried about it at this point, but that's technically where I want it to be before I base it. It's got metallic on the blades. It's nice and shadowy. I could highlight up a few areas, but I think this is actually pretty cool because of how dark they're supposed to be. That there's no like actual highlights hitting them. They're being all stealthy and everything, staying in the shadows. So, I don't know. One cool thing about painting models is if you decide at a later time you want more detail on them, you can add more detail later. I might actually go over, let's see, up. This one has some of the leg wraps. I'm gonna actually see what it looks like with the red just on it. Since I have it on my palette and I have a brush right now and everything. Gonna finish this tinny tin first, and I am holding it by the blade, which makes it a little bit harder to paint. But let's see. There we go. Oh, that's not even noticeable. Okay, not doing that. That's not noticeable. I actually kind of like the experimentation while painting. It's like, oh hey, there's a new piece, let's do that. But there is a little bit of metal down on their foot on this one. Okay. Again, there's another thing about yeah, another thing is having it on a camera looks a little bit different than in person. The angles and everything, but if you know that down here is where you've already painted and here is where you're trying to paint, there's a good 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and the brush is an 1/8 inch thick, so if you just keep it from hitting the previous area, you can just go over the parts that you want, and like washes and stuff can kind of hide some of the detail that you miss. um, you could always do a wash over it or highlight the high points, and then the shadow parts just fade into the background. And again, the camera's not focusing exactly how I want it to, but you don't have to hit every single piece of something for it to look decent. So I would like it if it actually would stay focused, though. That's the only problem I'm having with this camera. Well, the audio is a little bit better now. I was having an issue with that. But I mean, it is what I have. But like right here, the fur touches the metal, so don't go all the way up, just, you know, go right towards it, but not all the way there. And it'll look good. It's just a shadow between the two pieces. This guy has a few little triangles on his back. I'm gonna actually paint those as if they're metal reinforcements. I'm just gonna hold the brush to the side a little bit and just barely touch them so that it's only on the high points. I figured you might want to see a little bit closer up what I'm talking about. It's like keeping everything in focus while I'm painting is a little bit harder than getting a shot here and there. So... But yeah, like up here, the blade, so long as I don't hit the face, so I'm holding it in between, so long as I don't hit the face, I can just pull away over and over again. It's a little bit easier to keep from messing up something you've already painted. Just knowing where the brush is going. If you pull too far or too fast, I mean, it's what I'm gonna hit my camera. I mean, there is such a thing as a nose. It's a little bit harder to talk with a brush in your mouth, though. So... The fun thing is, I have 5 more to do the metal. And then these guys are done, other than gluing them to the base. And the bases are already made and painted, because I did all of them at once. So, these guys are actually nearly done. Which is really cool that I'll have another 10 models painted for the year. Yep. I'll be honest, I haven't actually removed as many as I thought I would this year. Well, let me rephrase. There are still more models to paint than I would have liked. But I've found a couple of sales recently, and yeah, they're cool models. And they're gonna be mine. So... yeah, I get enjoyment out of purchasing models. I get enjoyment out of painting models. So... a couple of the models are things that I've wanted for several years, and more I just went, hey, you know, these look really cool. And I will share as soon as I get them in. Don't know when I'll actually get to building and painting them, but when they're on sale, you know, you buy them when you can, right? Nice and stealthy. And a tail. Yeah, there's a little bit more lighting from the right. And only 3 more to go. This one has a little spike. I'm gonna paint that metal as well. Because I can. This same pose has more of these spikes, so but yeah, I've had a few larger projects in mind recently, and I'm looking forward to getting some of them done. So, I also just realized I haven't washed my paintbrush recently, and the paint on it is starting to get a little bit clogged up, which isn't good for fine detail. Or my brush. Okay, that's a little bit better. You shouldn't have to force the paint off the brush. Alright. And the last guy. Okay. So if these were more than just a line troop, I could do more detail on the tail. I could paint the brown pouches that are dotted around on the models. I could edge highlight or similar the different folds and everything. I could do another pass on the eyes. I could highlight the metallics. But these are line troops. And with that in mind, let's see, about a foot away, that's what you're going to see on the table. And that's at a foot. So the difference between the fur and the fabric is noticeable enough. I was about to touch the wet paint. But there is a difference between the fur and the fabric. The tail and the eye and the teeth are all different colors. The metals are definitely there. So, yes, it's really dark, but overall I think it looks really good for a gutter runner. So, let's see. Here's another one. If I can get the color to... Yeah. So... yeah. I'm pretty happy about that. And, it's about as long as I usually go on these, unless I plan something a lot longer. I do want to get a few more longer ones going on. But, so until next time, I hope you find your bit of bliss.